The North Atlantic in winter, 1000 CE. Building-sized waves slam into a wooden longship as temperatures plunge below freezing. Ice crawls up the rigging, beards freeze solid, breath crystallizes in the Arctic air. Viking crews spent weeks exposed to conditions that would kill a modern person in hours. No cabins, no walls, no shelter. And most shocking of all, no fire on board. How did they survive voyages across the deadliest waters on Earth without a single spark of heat? The answer completely rewrites what we thought we knew about Viking maritime technology. Archaeology tells us something extraordinary. Vikings never heated their ships. No braziers, no hearths, no controlled flame of any kind. Not because they were primitive, but because they engineered their vessels with one absolute priority: safety over comfort. And the systems they developed instead were so effective they helped fuel conquests, explorations, and the discovery of entire continents. Here's the core truth Hollywood always ignores. Fire and wooden ships are mortal enemies. A vessel built from pine, oak, tarred rope, wool-packed seams, and pitch-sealed rigging could turn into an inferno from a single spark. But how do we know Vikings avoided shipboard fire entirely? Because their ships, preserved for 1,000 years, tell us so. The clearest evidence comes from Roskilde and the famous Skuldelev ships. These 5 vessels, warships, cargo ships, fishing boats, were excavated with extraordinary detail. Archaeologists recovered water barrels, tools, ballast, even food traces. But the discovery that stunned researchers? Across all 5 ships, not a single heating or cooking device. And this pattern repeats everywhere.
The Oseberg ship, 834 CE, contained cooking vessels, but as burial goods, never used at sea. The Gokstad ship, 890 CE, had huge water storage capacity, but zero heating equipment. Even the recent Gokstad excavation 2020 to 2021, using modern scanning technology, revealed no fire installations of any kind. Sagas and law codes explain why. The Gragas laws mandated shore stops 3 times daily for water and meal preparation. The Irbygja saga even describes drawing lots for who would cook, on land, not at sea. So Vikings definitely didn't use fire aboard their ships. But why tolerate such brutal cold? Because a fire on a clinker-built Viking ship was almost instant death. Tarred planks, wool-packed seams, pitch-coated rigging, and fat-treated sails were essentially a floating torch. With open decks and no bulkheads, a blaze could consume the entire vessel in under 4 minutes. No archaeological site shows any fire-resistant structures or metal hearth installations that would make onboard fire remotely safe. So the Vikings made a choice: endure the cold, protect the ship, survive. But then the question becomes how? They re-engineered warmth itself. Textile evidence from Greenland's Herjolfsnes site revealed sophisticated layered clothing that remained insulating even when wet. Vikings used multiple wool grades, windproof, moisture-managing, and heat-retaining layers. And then comes one of the most remarkable details in all Viking studies. According to the Laxdælja saga, women on voyages would seal men's sleeves at the wrists every morning using bone needles and waxed thread. Not tied, not buttoned, sewn shut. Before combat or landing, warriors cut themselves free with their sea axe knives. Greenlandic burials confirmed this practice through preserved garments. This was part of a highly refined clothing system designed to create a portable microclimate around each body. But even expertly layered clothing wasn't enough for sleep, so Vikings used something far better than Hollywood's fur blankets. They slept in communal two-person fur sleeping bags, documented in sagas as waterproof skin bags, likely the hoodfat. Two bodies in one insulated space could stay 15 to 20 degrees centigrade warmer than the surrounding air, entirely from body heat. Crews rotated sleep in pairs based on watch schedules, so the bags never fully cooled down. They slept on raised platforms above the cold bilge. When the sail was lowered, it formed a tent over the entire ship, trapping warmth from dozens of bodies. Even chiefs and leaders shared these arrangements. Survival over status. To maintain body heat, sailors needed enormous caloric intake without cooking, so Vikings used preserved foods designed for cold consumption. Dried fish, hard biscuits, nutrient-dense nut bread, cold porridge preserved with butter and salt. The cold porridge system from the Islendinga saga was especially ingenious. A dense mixture prepared on land, eaten as is or rehydrated with cold water. York excavations show massive stores of these provisions for long voyages. But here's the crucial point. Vikings were rarely at sea non-stop. Over 200 documented shore sites from Norway to Newfoundland show they planned voyages around frequent landings. Winter camps like the 55-hectare site at Torksey reveal organized cooking facilities, workshops, and living spaces.
On land, their cooking systems were advanced. Iron pots, tripod setups, soapstone vessels, vented hearths. Yet none of this ever went to sea. Fire aboard a longship was simply too dangerous. Mediterranean cultures had onboard galleys and stoves long before the Vikings, but northern open-deck ship design made such systems impossible. So, the Vikings made a calculated trade-off. No fire meant lighter ships, more cargo space, and superior speed, perfect for raids and rapid retreats. And modern experiments prove Viking methods work. The 2007 Sea Stallion voyage from Roskilde to Dublin, using a full Skuldelev reconstruction, confirmed that with proper clothing, shared sleeping, and coordinated rotations, crews can endure North Atlantic cold safely without onboard fire. Psychological resilience was part of the system too. Finds from Viking camps include over 300 gaming pieces, dice, board games, carved toys, used to maintain morale during harsh weather. Storytelling, gambling, and competition weren't just diversions, they were survival strategies. Voyages were planned around seasonal patterns, avoiding the worst conditions whenever possible. The goal was sustainability, not heroic suffering. In the end, Vikings didn't lack the technology for shipboard heating. They deliberately rejected it. They engineered survival through advanced wool systems, communal heat sharing, strategic provisioning, tight voyage planning, and extensive shore infrastructure. They didn't just endure cold, they mastered it, turned it into an operational advantage. And through that mastery, they crossed oceans, reshaped continents, and became one of history's most formidable maritime cultures. Vikings didn't need to heat their ships. They heated themselves through cooperation, planning, and sheer strategic brilliance. And in doing that, they became unstoppable.